Perspectives are important. What can seem huge and daunting to one can be nothing for another. Experience helps to shape our thoughts and opinions on upcoming challenges. These two things together are what makes it impossible to understand a challenge as if you're in the shoes of someone else. This information will be relevant later. If I were to sum up Kingdom Hearts 3 in one word, it would be boring. Like, I don't think that's unfair. The writing quality between characters is definitely way above previous games. With technological improvements has come more advanced dialogue.
Guess who I can't count?
Hey, that's not related!
Or something, I don't know. I definitely have felt like this cast of characters at least actually know each other in this entry compared to Kingdom Hearts 2, where they kind of felt a little distant.
We won't, but you are a pig, right?
Call me Mr. Pig!
What? World design is also gorgeous. Say what you will about Square Enix, they know how to make a good looking game. I was actually a fan of the level layouts too. They were kind of a hybrid of the non-linear designs of levels from Kingdom Hearts, but with the directionality from Kingdom Hearts 2, which means that you are free to explore to your heart's content, but it's relatively hard to get lost. That's kind of where my praise ends for the game. My prayers were answered with the streamlining of the clumsy fighting system of the first few games, but it's too streamlined. Some people have commented on the inclusion of the attractions as a negative.
Drove along really fast and you thought you were going to hit it, and the wall just shot up and you were just straight on the outside lane.
But I think it could have been a positive if they had just included a few more iconic attractions, like a grand and miraculous spaceship. Apparently we've got to go to a sponsorship spot now, and I didn't even know we were doing those, but we'll see you in a few.
Today's show is brought to you by Energy. You make the world go round.
Okay, that was the last one, I promise. Cha-cha-cha! I never once got frustrated at fights, and at some point I actually did a whole boss fight without even mentioning it once.
I like the part where Tifa and Aerith threatened to cut the guy's balls off.
It is a real shame too, because the game had an amazing opening. The first few hours of the game were so good, I was so sure this game was going to be my favourite, and then the game just kind of fell off a cliff. There were worlds that were nothing more than the movie, but with Sora superimposed in the background. Ha! Psych! That actually was the movie with Sora superimposed on there. You fell for it!
Surprise, surprise!
And if you didn't, shut up. There was also Big Hero 6 that wanted to go with the open world route, but didn't really commit to it, and it was a little awkward. The only worlds I did enjoy were Toy Box, Monstropolis, and the Caribbean. Although I think that the crab collecting did feel a little bit like, we built this big town, and don't know what to do with it. The story was very bland too, and I haven't talked about the story in the previous two games, but I think it's worth mentioning here. Nothing interesting happens throughout most of the game that actually services the story. It's all set up for other things, and even then, it's not interesting. Pete and Maleficent just bumming around for the whole game. How the hell do you have a dream team like this and give the boring ones centre stage? I find that crazy. As I mentioned earlier, character interactions are greatly improved in this game, which can make individual cutscenes great, but overall, they just don't really service each other in the way that I think is satisfying. The story is just kind of thrown at you, and then you spend the next cutscene processing the previous one. Some of these cutscenes aren't short either, like we're talking 30 plus minutes at points. As for the final bosses, they were pretty easy. The only boss fight I had any issue with in the game was the Dark Aqua fight, and even then it wasn't that bad. The final bosses, easy. Except when the game crashed. The game crashed. The final Xehanort fight was kind of enjoyable actually though. I like this a lot, especially the rage mode being forced. Oh yeah, the reveal. That was actually so dumb. I'm good now. Oh, whatever. Shut up. I'm not even invested in this story. I barely know who you are, and I think this is stupid. Just get out of here. Fuck off. If you want to know my thoughts on the story, here's a 5.5 hour video essay by Ask Your Uncle. It's really good, and for the most part, I agree with the thoughts on the game and the story. It also helped me get a little more context on some of the story elements. It didn't really help me like the story, unfortunately. Kingdom Hearts 3. Overall, a step down. This game is a little subpar. Unfortunately, I have to award it the 4 out of 10. No longer the Mozilla 4 out of 10, it's the dreary middle 4 out of 10. This is the end of my road for the franchise. I don't think I'm interested in continuing, be that with Kingdom Hearts 4 or playing the spin-off games that came before. As such, Mr. Turnabout has asked me to do a little retrospective on the franchise. I think, without spending hours talking about the nuances between each of the games, as this series is meant to be quick opinions, the best way I think I can sum up my thoughts is really by looking at my favourite part of the series as a whole, and that has to be Simulated Twilight Town. Watching videos of this section again gives me nostalgia for a game I only played within the past year, specifically for that part. The music just gets me every time I hear it. I understand why the theme only plays when you play from Roxas's perspective. It's so bittersweet, and it perfectly represents that section of the game. I kind of get it, but I also regret not mentioning it in the Kingdom Hearts 2 video, but I think it's because I was just relieved it was over. For the briefest time, however, I got it. I got why people love Kingdom Hearts. For this piece of music, Lazy Afternoons, to feel nostalgic to me, despite only hearing it properly for the first time but a few months ago. I get why people love this franchise. I really do, but for me, this is the only part of Kingdom Hearts as a franchise that ever got me to feel this way. This isn't just a piece of music for an area in a game, it's a bittersweet song that evokes perfectly the feeling of hopelessness without being outright sad. Other games have tried their hardest to do that with the perceived loss of hope, but this Roxas section managed to perfectly capture that with an acoustic guitar, a vibraphone, and a soprano saxophone. And it's the right feeling to have. We are watching a character, unknown by the masses, die in front of us. As their life is being stripped away right from in front of them, as they realise things aren't going great for them, they carry on doing the only thing they know, spending time with their friends. People who say games can't have an effect on people, I'm afraid I don't know what they're talking about. And games are the least favourite of the 5 mediums I enjoy on a regular basis. Kingdom Hearts as a whole, sure, whatever, it's dumb and people know it's dumb. Its greatest fans poke fun at the senseless story, the writers are self-aware enough to poke fun at the inconsistencies. But for a section of this franchise to make me take a step back and go, wow. It's a great testament to the abilities of the writers that proves that they can make something great when the burden of the overarching story isn't weighing upon them. I know it's all kind of undone later on anyway, which does impact the effectiveness of this section in retrospect, but of the 90 hours I spent playing through this trilogy, the only time I can truly look back on and say, yes, this is great, are these 3 hours at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2. And that's just it. I get why people love this franchise, why it's held so near and dear to so many people's hearts. I truly do. But that's just it. It's partly blinded by nostalgia. I'm sorry, but for as much as I love Simulated Twilight Town, that love doesn't extend to the rest of the game, let alone franchise. But I empathise with those who get frustrated that their friends don't like Kingdom Hearts. But realistically, it's because this franchise is infuriating.
It's the guy who's not handsome.
It's gone beyond a meme, it's not even funny anymore.
No, I'm me. I'm me, he says.
Kingdom Hearts is a mess, but inside that mess are beautiful moments such as these that I wish could have been replicated more throughout the trilogy. The reason why this game resonates with so many people is because of scenes like these where you watch kids be kids, to mess around not knowing of the dangers of life, and when you played this game as a child you connected with that. But yet the game didn't treat you like a child. It let you have your fun hanging out with your favourite Disney character and your favourite Final Fantasy characters, but it wasn't afraid to hold back with questions about death, existentialism, right and wrong. It's a very complex franchise that does challenge children in a way that a lot of games don't, or flat out won't. I get the love, and after playing the games, I do now respect the defenders of the franchise a lot more than I did previously. But to call this franchise great, despite all that, is just too much of a stretch. It has too many problems, and with gameplay and story being the two biggest offenders, I just can't, in good conscience, say that this franchise has stood the test of time. It really is a definition of, you had to be there. And it sucks. It really fucking sucks. Kingdom Hearts is, for me, the classic that never was. I said perspectives would be important later on, didn't I?
Listen and you'll hear the heartbeat of a universe teeming with force. See all the forms and the faces of nature taking its course.